So I've been playing Halo Infinite, and it's really good, but it kind of proves a point I made in my Bionic Commando video about how if you make an open world game with a grapple hook, the grapple hook just turns into a glorified commute. This game is certainly not that bad because the open world is more like a collection of arenas that are very large, which I'm basically in one right now, where the actual action and objectives are, and everything between it is just very sparse amounts of nice greenery that looks great, but doesn't actually take very long to traverse, especially if you have a vehicle. It's the sort of thing that, it does have little stuff like this, where you can do a tiny side objective like freeing some Marines, or maybe killing a VIP for their weapon before moving on to the main objective. Like, there's basically side quests, but even the secret hunting for, like, level up equipment, which I can show you. You can level up Chief by collecting armor cores, which I should definitely do that. There we go. All that stuff, you could definitely fit in these giant arenas, even if you just moved through them one level at a time, like the old games. The open world part doesn't really work, not because it's intrusive or god-awful annoying like in Grand Theft Auto, where they just, honest to God, make you fucking drive pretty far to go somewhere in a... It's just, God, I never understand that. Quick side tangent, I am fucking amazed at how much Grand Theft Auto basically has a horrifically glorified minigame that became more popular than the main game, and also never got cut. Like, the type of game Rockstar wants to make, clearly, from a story perspective, is clearly a very linear, tightly controlled series of events, where the player really gets inside the criminal character they're playing's head. And fucking around with an RPG in a mall is not going to do that. It's all complete, like, antithesis. It's just so far away from the story and the character. It cuts the roleplay potential. It's just fucking the problem. I don't like it. So yeah, it's a little funny that, Grand Theft Auto would have popularized the open world when it's not a good example of open world. Like, it's a fun, glorified minigame to fuck around in a mall with a flamethrower, or, like, get a million cops and blow them up, or whatever the hell you felt like doing. But it's really not a compelling example of, like, an open world as, like, a more thorough part of the experience. It's not contributing to the story. It's... jeez, that hurt. Oh, there's a turret here. Awesome. Like, I could rag on that for a long... Oh, God. The grunts in this game are actually quite grenade happy. I'm playing on Heroic. They fucking pull grenades right when you don't want them to. And I kinda love it. Anyway, back to this game. I've been really enjoying it. And I'm really enjoying the fact that they didn't lean too much into the open world, which sounds weird, but I mean, think about Chief, right? Like, he's not he's not like a recovering from coma, like, delicate femboy elf like our favorite, like, Hylian Link. Breath of the Wild gets away with so goddamn much, and it should. And it's because Link is not a durable protagonist. He's recovering from muscle atrophy, he needs to eat food because he's a normal, mortal person. There's all these little details that make him so compelling as a character who has to survive in the world. It's too hot, it's too cold, he's freezing, he's dying of heat stroke. He's getting hit by monsters that really hurt him, and he needs to scrounge more items in the overworld because they don't have potions anymore. This is a lot of fucking enemies, jeez. He's a poor, delicate guy who needs to constantly work to keep himself from falling to pieces, so the open world has a really big effect on him. But Master Chief is a walking cyborg tank man. Like, he is very analogous in design and effect to one of the tactical marines from Warhammer 40k, and if you know anything about that, that should make you laugh. So the fact, it really doesn't matter if it's rain or shine or snow or the dead of night or a fucking mountain between him and the objective. He doesn't give a shit if he hasn't eaten in a while and it's cold. He's a fucking tank that walks. He's a tank destroyer that walks. Like, nothing about this shit bugs him in the slightest, and it shouldn't. Oh, that was close. I don't know, Marine. So, like, yeah, he's a fabulous player character, and I think he has more narrative depth than people give him credit for, since he's basically, like, the ideal soldier, except he has 0 military bravado. Like, that's pretty interesting. But as an open world character, like, forget about it. He is one of the worst choices. He would never, ever care about the environment. I guess on a ring world like this, you could have crazy Tesla storms or something from the broken regions, but... Oh, hey. You know, you could lean into it a bit with some sci-fi absurdity. But the fact, you know, Chief is just, he's not vulnerable. He doesn't give a shit about this whole ring. Nothing about the ring changes your modus operandi, and that's honestly kind of accentuated by the grapple hook. Because you can just fucking get the hell out. It's not like Metal Gear 5 where the angle of approach is an absurdly big deal because you're trying to not get detected. Like, he'll just Spider-Man away if there's a problem. Like, this is a game where you can just do this. I'm over here now. Like, you can't do that in Zelda or Metal Gear. So when you're trying to fight enemies that are a lot bigger than you or go undetected, that really matters. You know, sandstorms cut visibility, the rain mutes sound, the snow slows Link down, there are creatures that can move through the sand better than he can walk over it. Like, all that stuff means you're constantly subject to the overworld, and Chief he just fucking isn't. So I'm really glad that structurally, instead of leaning into the open world, they basically just made it, you know, giant arena, and a little bit of connective tissue in between. Because, yeah, really the best thing they could have done for the grapple hook and the gameplay is basically make it a huge arena a pseudo open world immersive sim, but with a combat focus. And I think that's really what it is, more than an open world game is an immersive sim. God fuck, I am the worst.
Are you gonna kill him, or do I need to do that too?
That wasn't smart. That wasn't smart. I just dropped myself. Like, I feel like, honestly, this game, in spirit, is actually a lot closer to an immersive sim like Deus Ex, because part of what makes it really fun is the organic cause and effect and all of the layers in the way stuff can interact, and the way it lets you, like, make a lot of independent choices. It doesn't really funnel you into one solution or the other. And I like that because I feel like, as an immersive sim, this is excellent. There are a lot of immersive sims where, like, half of the... And God, it must just be so extraneous to implement and design and to model. It's just rifling through fucking drawers in people's houses that aren't important and don't have any story relevance. Like, it's just breaking and entering simulator, except you're not a burglar, so who gives a fuck? Like, you're not casing the joint, you're not stealing anything. Well, actually, you're stealing everything. You're a fucking kleptomaniac in these kinds of games. Like in Deus Ex, there's so many little side areas that are not important that someone had to put a lot of work into, and it doesn't really factor into the game at large. Whereas this game has immersive sim qualities that factor directly into its core gameplay loop, and I'm really quite a fan. I think 343 did a really excellent job with the gameplay in this one. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a boss fight or something when I go up here, so I wanted to finish my sentence before I embarked. Also, escape velocity, the thing that makes you camo, very good, do recommend. Alright, what do we got?
Last one, and cue the lockdown. Huh. No Escherum? I'm almost disappointed. Almost. All set. Let's get back to the Pelican. We did it!
Alright, where's that Spartan Hunter? They do something cool with this game where they foreshadow the enemies that you're going to fight. It's a bit Sly Cooper-esque, actually, come to think of it. Oh god, I hope those Marines are okay. Okay, they are.
There's a repeated message across all banished frequencies. The first part is Hand of Atriox.
And then what?
Deploy.
Chief, where are you? Hold position. We're on our way. I'm sorry, Chief. I can't stay.
I've lost his signal. If the Spartan killers find him...
That won't happen.
How can you be sure?
Because they'll need to go through me first.
Am I the only one who feels like Master Chief is slowly becoming Batman? Like, he already had the, like, incredible amount of, like, dogged hope and assurance that no matter who he faces, he's gonna best him.
Well, a lot.
But now he also rappels to the roof.